Last night, while you were sleeping, something tried to save your life. Not a guardian angel, not a spirit guide, something closer to you than either of those. Something that knows every cell of your body, every secret of your heart, every pattern of your future, your own subconscious mind. Edgar Cayce, the most documented psychic in history, a man who gave over 14,000 readings across 4 decades, believed that dreams were the most underutilized gift God ever gave humanity. He said that nothing of significance ever happened to a person without it first being foreshadowed in their dreams. Nothing. Not illness, not opportunity, not danger, not love. And yet most of us wake up, shake off the images, and forget them within 5 minutes. Cayce called this a tragedy, because according to him, your dreams aren't random noise. They aren't just your brain defragging the day's data. They are letters, specific, urgent, personalized letters from the deepest part of your being. And some of those letters are warnings. Tonight, I'm going to show you 5 levels of dreaming that Cayce identified, from the most basic physical warnings to the most profound spiritual contact. Each level goes deeper than the last. I'll teach you his system for decoding them, and at the end, I'll give you his exact technique for ordering a dream, requesting specific answers while you sleep. If you've ever woken up from a dream that felt too real to dismiss, too vivid to forget, too important to ignore, this video is for you. Let's begin. Level 1. Your house is falling apart, and it's not about real estate. The first level of dreaming is the most grounded, the most practical, and the one that could literally save your life. Cayce taught that your subconscious mind is the best diagnostic tool in existence. It knows about inflammation, imbalance, and dysfunction in your body long before any symptom appears on the surface. Long before the pain. Long before the doctor finds anything. Your subconscious already knows. But here's the problem. The subconscious doesn't speak English. It doesn't speak Russian. It doesn't speak any human language. It speaks in images, in metaphors, in symbols that your conscious mind has to learn to translate. And the most important health symbol in Cayce's dream language is this: the house. For your subconscious, your body is a house. The house where your soul lives. And when something goes wrong with that house in a dream, it's almost always pointing to something going wrong with the body that contains you. This is not abstract symbolism. This is precise diagnostic language, once you learn to read it. The upper floor, the attic, the roof, often represents the head and the brain. If your dream shows a leaking roof, crumbling ceiling, or problems in the attic, Cayce would suggest paying attention to headaches, mental fatigue, or neurological symptoms you might be brushing off. The electrical wiring of the house represents your nervous system. Flickering lights, short circuits, power outages in a dream. Your nerves may be frayed. Your nervous system may be overstressed, depleted, running on fumes. The plumbing, pipes, water flow, drains, maps onto your circulatory system and digestion. Clogged pipes, flooding, dirty water backing up into the house. Cayce would tell you to look at your blood pressure, your circulation, your gut health. And the foundation, the basement, that's your skeletal system, your structural support. Cracks in the foundation, a sinking basement, walls pulling away from the base. These point to bone health, joint problems, structural issues that you might not yet feel, but that your subconscious already detects. Now here's what makes Cayce's approach so different from a typical dream dictionary. He didn't just catalog symbols, he insisted that the dreamer's personal associations mattered more than any universal meaning. If you grew up in a specific house, if your grandmother's kitchen is the safest place in your memory, then that kitchen appearing in a dream might mean something different for you than for someone else. But the house as body metaphor was remarkably consistent across his readings. Again and again, when people brought him dreams about damaged houses, Cayce's interpretation circled back to physical health. Beyond the house, there are two more health warning symbols you need to know: fire and heat. If you dream of a fire, your house burning, a room filled with smoke, the sensation of intense heat on your skin, Cayce often interpreted this as an inflammatory process beginning in the body. Your subconscious is literally showing you the temperature. Fever, infection, inflammation. The body is burning and it's sending you the image of flames so you'll pay attention before it's too late. And then there are the ones people find most disturbing. Small creatures. Insects, bugs crawling on you or under your skin. Rats, worms. Popular dream dictionaries will tell you these represent enemies, betrayal, people plotting against you. Cayce had a very different interpretation. These creatures often represent toxicity inside the body, intestinal problems, parasitic conditions, nervous exhaustion, chemical imbalances. The enemies your subconscious is warning you about aren't people. They're pathogens, toxins, and dysfunctions living inside your own system. Cayce's rule was clear. Before you look for mystical meanings in a dream about illness, damage, or decay, go to the doctor first. Take care of your temple. Your body is sending you a message in the only language it knows. The least you can do is listen. I want to be clear. I'm not giving medical advice. But I am saying that if you've been having recurring dreams about a crumbling house, about fire, about insects under your skin, and you've been ignoring them as just dreams, maybe it's time to schedule that checkup you've been putting off. Your subconscious has been trying to save your life. It would be a shame not to let it. But the body is only the first level. Let's go deeper. Level 2. The psyche's mirrors. Now we go deeper. If level 1 was the body talking, level 2 is the mind talking. These are psychological warning dreams. The ones that almost everyone has at some point. The ones that feel universal. The ones people Google at 3 in the morning with trembling hands. And almost everything the internet tells you about them is wrong. Let me decode the 3 most common dreams in human experience through the lens of Edgar Cayce's readings, and I promise you, his interpretations are not what you expect. Dream 1. Your teeth are falling out. If you've had this dream, you know the feeling. You're going about your day and suddenly your teeth start loosening. They crumble. They fall into your hand. You run your tongue over empty, bleeding gums and feel horror rising in your chest. Traditional dream dictionaries say this means death. Death of a relative. Death of someone close. And that interpretation has terrified people for centuries. Cayce looked at it completely differently. Teeth in Cayce's dream language represent words and speech. Your mouth. Your ability to communicate. Teeth falling out most commonly means one of 2 things. First, you've said something you shouldn't have. You've been loose-tongued, gossiping, lying, speaking carelessly, letting words fall out of your mouth that should have stayed behind your teeth. It's a warning to watch your speech before your words cause real damage. Second, you're afraid to speak your truth. You're holding back something important, and the pressure of that suppression is manifesting as teeth falling out, as if the truth is pushing itself out of you whether you want it to or not. And there's a third interpretation that Cayce offered, one that's actually beautiful. Growth. Think about what happens when a child loses their baby teeth. It's frightening for the child. It feels like something is wrong. But what's actually happening is that the old is making way for the new. Stronger, more permanent teeth are pushing through. So teeth falling out in a dream can also mean you're outgrowing an old version of yourself, an old way of speaking, an old identity, and the new one is coming in, not death. Transformation. Dream 2. You're naked in public. This is perhaps the most universal anxiety dream in existence. You're walking through a crowded street or sitting in a meeting at work or standing in front of a classroom, and you suddenly realize you're completely naked. Everyone is looking at you. The shame is unbearable. Most people assume this is about vulnerability, and they're half right. Cayce went deeper. This dream is about masks. In waking life, we all wear them. The professional mask, the everything is fine mask, the I have it all together mask. We present curated versions of ourselves to the world and hide everything we're ashamed of. Our insecurities, our failures, our secret fears, the parts of us we think are unacceptable. The nakedness dream is your subconscious saying, the mask is slipping. People are starting to see through it, or, more profoundly, you want them to see through it. Part of you is tired of pretending. Part of you wants to be seen as you truly are, even though the idea terrifies you. This dream is not a punishment. It's an invitation. It's your subconscious saying, stop pretending, stop hiding, accept yourself as you are. All of it, including the parts you're ashamed of. Because the energy you spend maintaining the mask is exhausting you, and the people who matter won't run away when they see the real you. Cayce's interpretation transforms this dream from a nightmare into a liberation. Dream 3. You die, or someone you love dies. This is the one that sends people into a panic. They wake up sobbing, convinced it was a premonition. They call their mother at 4 a.m. They spend the next week in dread, waiting for the prophecy to come true. And in the overwhelming majority of cases, according to Cayce, they're wasting their fear on the wrong interpretation. Death in a dream, Cayce taught, almost always symbolizes transformation, not physical death, the end of one state and the beginning of another. If you die in your dream, something in your life is ending. A habit, a relationship dynamic, a fear that has controlled you, a version of yourself that has served its purpose and needs to give way to the next version. The dream feels terrifying because transformation always does. The caterpillar dissolving inside the cocoon probably isn't having a good time either. But what comes out is something with wings. And here's one of Cayce's most brilliant insights about death dreams. If you kill someone in a dream, don't panic. It's rarely about aggression. The person you kill often represents a quality or trait, and it may be your own quality that you're trying to eliminate. If you dream of killing a liar, you may be fighting your own dishonesty. If you dream of killing someone who controlled you, you may finally be breaking free of a pattern of submission. Violence in dreams is almost always internal revolution, your psyche tearing down old structures to build new ones. The rule Cayce gave. Ask yourself, what is this person or this situation representing inside me? What old part of me needs to die so something new can be born? The answer to that question is the real message of the dream. Now, we've listened to the body. We've looked in the mirror of the mind. It's time to go deeper, to the level most people never reach. Level 3, the soul's report card. We've gone from the body to the mind. Now we go deeper still, to the soul itself. This third level is deeply personal to Cayce's system. It's a symbol that appears in nearly every tradition of dream interpretation, but Cayce took it further than anyone. Water. In Cayce's dream language, water is the single most important symbol you can encounter. Why? Because water represents the state of your soul, your emotional life, your spiritual condition, the deepest, most honest report card of where you are on your inner journey. And the type of water you see in your dream tells you everything. Clear, calm water, a still lake, a clean stream, a crystal pool, means your spiritual life is in good order. Your emotions are balanced. Your inner world is peaceful. This is the dream equivalent of a green light. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Muddy or dirty water, a murky pond, a polluted river, brown water coming from your faucet, is a direct warning. Something in your emotional or spiritual life is contaminated. It could be toxic thoughts you've been entertaining. It could be a relationship that is poisoning your inner peace. It could be unresolved guilt, shame, or resentment clouding your spiritual vision. Cayce was insistent. Do not ignore muddy water in a dream. It is your soul telling you that something needs to be cleansed. Find the source of the contamination and deal with it before it spreads. Flooding. Water rising uncontrollably, filling rooms, sweeping you away, typically indicates emotions that are overwhelming you. Grief you haven't processed. Anxiety that has grown beyond your ability to contain it. The dream is saying, the dam is about to break. Either you release this pressure deliberately, consciously, on your terms, or it will release itself, chaotically, on its own. Being underwater, submerged, struggling to breathe, sinking, often points to a spiritual crisis. You're in over your head, not just emotionally, but at the soul level. Cayce would say, this is the dream of someone who has lost their spiritual footing, who has been pulled so far into the material world that their connection to the divine is drowning. But here's where it gets fascinating. If you dream of diving underwater willingly, going down deliberately, exploring what's beneath the surface, this is one of the most positive dreams you can have. It means you are exploring your own subconscious. You are brave enough to look at what lies beneath your carefully constructed surface. You are doing the inner work that most people avoid their entire lives. And then there's the ocean. Vast, boundless, powerful. In Cayce's readings, the ocean often represents God, the universal consciousness, the infinite source from which every soul originates and to which every soul returns. Dreaming of standing at the edge of the ocean means you're on the threshold of a spiritual breakthrough. Dreaming of swimming in the ocean means you're connecting with the divine directly. But dreaming of being tossed by ocean waves, helpless, battered, unable to find your footing, means your relationship with the divine is turbulent. You may be resisting the current of your own spiritual path. You may be fighting against the direction your soul is trying to take you. Here's the practical test Cayce would have you perform after any water dream. Ask yourself, what was the water like? Was it clean or dirty? Was it still or violent? Was I swimming or drowning? Was I in control or helpless? Your answer is a real-time diagnosis of your spiritual health. More accurate than any personality test. More honest than any meditation session. Because your subconscious cannot lie, and in dreams, it doesn't try to. The water always tells the truth. But there is a level beyond even the soul's own report card, a level where the messages no longer come from within you at all. Level 4. Visits from beyond. Now we cross a threshold. The first 3 levels came from within you, your body, your psyche, your soul. Level 4 comes from outside, from them. Cayce taught that approximately 95% of our dreams come from the subconscious mind, processing daily experiences, working through psychological material, sending health warnings. All important, all valuable. But the remaining 5%, those come from somewhere else entirely. Cayce called them visions or soul experiences. These are the dreams where a deceased loved one appears and speaks to you, where you see an event that hasn't happened yet. And then it happens, exactly as you saw it, where you visit places that don't exist on any map but feel more real than your bedroom. The question everyone asks, how do I tell the difference? How do I know if that dream about my grandmother was a real visitation or just my grief playing tricks on me? Cayce and the researchers who spent decades studying his dream material developed what I'll call the reality test. 3 criteria that separate genuine spiritual contact from ordinary dreaming. Ordinary dreams are hazy, fragmented. The colors are muted or absent. The details are vague. You can rarely remember what someone was wearing or what the room looked like. A genuine spiritual dream is the opposite. It is more vivid than waking life. The colors are richer, more saturated, more alive than anything you see with your physical eyes. You can feel the texture of the clothes the person is wearing. You can smell their perfume, their specific perfume, the one they actually wore, not some generic dream smell. The light has a quality to it, often described as golden or luminous, that doesn't exist in ordinary dreams. You wake up from this kind of dream not with the fog of sleep, but with the startling clarity of someone who has just returned from a real place, and you remember every detail. Not just for 5 minutes, for years, sometimes for the rest of your life. Ordinary dreams are chaotic. You're in your childhood school, then suddenly on a beach, then flying on a giant ironing board. There's no logic, no through line, no point. A spiritual dream has structure. It has a beginning and an end. There is a sense of purpose to every element, and most importantly, there is a message. The deceased person isn't just standing there silently, existing as background scenery. They communicate something specific, sometimes in words, sometimes in a feeling so clear it might as well be words, sometimes simply through their presence, a presence that radiates meaning the way a fire radiates heat. And you don't have to interpret the message. You don't need a dream dictionary for it. You just know. The understanding comes with the experience, built into it, inseparable from it. Criterion 3. The emotional afterglow. This is the most reliable indicator of all. After an ordinary nightmare, you wake up agitated, drained, disoriented. The emotional residue fades quickly, replaced by relief that it wasn't real. After a genuine spiritual contact, you wake up transformed. Even if the content was intense, even if difficult things were communicated, you feel a deep, pervasive peace. Some people describe it as electricity running through their body. Others describe it as a sacred tremor, a feeling of awe that sits in the chest and doesn't go away for hours or even days. You know it was real. You don't believe it was real. You know. And that knowing comes not from the mind, but from somewhere deeper. From the heart, from the soul. If a dream passes all 3 of these tests, hyper-reality, coherent message, and sacred afterglow, Cayce's guidance was unambiguous. Do not ignore it. Write it down. Remember every detail. Treat it as what it is. A direct communication from beyond the veil, addressed personally to you. Because those who have crossed over are constantly reaching out, but only in sleep, when your rational mind relaxes its grip, when the barriers between dimensions thin, when your soul is free enough to receive. Can their signal get through? And that brings us to the final level, the deepest one, the one that doesn't care about content, only urgency. Level 5. The soul's emergency alarm, the dream that won't stop. The 5th and deepest level is not defined by its content, but by its behavior. It's the dream that keeps coming back. The same scenario, the same images, the same feeling, week after week, month after month, sometimes year after year, the recurring dream. And according to Cayce, this is the most urgent message your subconscious can possibly send. Think of it this way. Your subconscious sends you a dream, a warning, a message, a nudge. You wake up, you brush it off, you forget it by breakfast. So your subconscious sends it again. Same dream. You ignore it again. So it sends it again, and again, and again, each time slightly louder. Each time slightly more insistent, each time more vivid, more disturbing, more impossible to ignore. A recurring dream is your soul's emergency broadcast system. It's the equivalent of a fire alarm that keeps ringing because the fire hasn't been put out. And Cayce was emphatic. These dreams will not stop until you address the issue they're pointing to. You can't outrun them. You can't medicate them away. You can't distract yourself out of them. They will keep coming until you face what they're asking you to face. The most common recurring dreams carry specific meanings in Cayce's system. Being chased. If you're repeatedly dreaming of being pursued by a stranger, a monster, an unseen force, this is almost always about avoidance. There is something in your waking life that you are running from, a conversation you need to have, a decision you're afraid to make, a truth about yourself that you refuse to look at. The pursuer in the dream is not some external enemy. It's the part of yourself that you've exiled, the shadow, as Jung would call it, and it will chase you through your dreamscape every single night until you turn around and face it. Cayce's advice for this dream was radical. Next time it comes, stop running. In the dream, if you can develop enough awareness, turn around. Look at what's chasing you. Ask it what it wants. People who have done this report that the pursuer often transforms the moment they face it. The monster becomes a child, the shadow becomes a teacher, the terror becomes understanding, failing an exam. Another incredibly common recurring dream. You're back in school. There's a test you haven't studied for. You can't find the classroom. The clock is ticking. You look at the paper and you don't know a single answer. This dream persists in people who never resolved a core fear of inadequacy. It's not about the exam. It's about the feeling that you're not enough. That life is a test you're failing. That everyone else has the answers and you're the only one who doesn't. Cayce would ask, where in your current life are you feeling tested? Where do you feel unprepared? Where are you measuring yourself against a standard you can never meet? That's the real exam, and the dream won't stop until you either pass it or decide that it was the wrong test all along. Missing a train, a plane, a boat, you're rushing to catch something. A flight, a ship, a bus, and you keep being delayed. You arrive just as it pulls away. The overwhelming emotion is the feeling of having missed something important. In Cayce's framework, this dream speaks to missed opportunities and the fear of being left behind. But here's the deeper layer. It's often about spiritual timing. Your soul is telling you that there is a window, a period of alignment, a moment of readiness, and you are at risk of missing it. Not because you're unlucky, but because you're distracted, because you're spending your energy on things that don't matter while the things that do matter are departing without you. Here's the key principle that unites all recurring dreams. They are not punishments. They are not your subconscious torturing you. They are medicine, bitter medicine maybe, uncomfortable medicine, but medicine nonetheless. Your soul keeps prescribing the same remedy because the disease hasn't been cured. And the cure is always the same. Awareness, recognition, facing the thing the dream is pointing to. Once you do, once you truly see what the dream was showing you and take action in your waking life, the dream stops. It simply doesn't come back. Because the message was received, the alarm was heard, the fire was put out. If you have a recurring dream right now, one that has followed you for months or years, I want you to know something. That dream is the most important communication you're currently receiving from any source. More important than your email. More important than the news. More important than any conversation you'll have this week. Your soul doesn't repeat itself unless it's desperate. Listen to it. Practice. The technique Cayce taught for ordering dreams. Now, I want to give you something practical, something you can use tonight. Cayce taught that you don't have to be a passive receiver of dreams. You can be their director. You can ask your subconscious, or your soul, or God, or whatever name you give to the source, a specific question and receive a specific answer while you sleep, He called this dream incubation, and it's one of the most powerful techniques in his entire body of work. Here is the 4-step process, exactly as Cayce recommended it. Step 1. Prepare the vessel. In the hour before sleep, shut off the screens. No television, no phone, no scrolling. Don't eat heavy food. Don't drink alcohol. Your body needs to be light. Your mind needs to be quiet. You're preparing to receive a transmission, and static is the enemy. Step 2. Formulate the question. This is critical. Your question must be specific. Not, what should I do with my life? That's too vague, and you'll get a vague dream in return. Instead, should I accept this job offer? Or, how can I heal my relationship with my son? Or, what is the source of my back pain? Write the question down on paper, physical paper, not a phone note, and place it beside your bed or under your pillow. This act of writing is not symbolic, it's instructional. You are programming your subconscious with a clear request, the way you might type a query into a search engine. The more precise your query, the more precise your results. Step 3. The affirmation. As you're falling asleep, in that liminal state between waking and dreaming, when the conscious mind is loosening its grip, repeat a simple prayer or intention. Lord, if it be thy will, give me the answer to my question in a dream tonight, and help me remember it in the morning. You can adjust the language to fit your beliefs. The essential elements are the request for an answer, the humility of if it be thy will, meaning you accept that you might not be ready for the answer yet, and this is the part people forget, the request to remember. Because your subconscious will almost always answer. The problem isn't reception, it's recall. Step 4. Catching the fish. This is the hardest part and the most important. When you wake up in the morning, the very instant you become conscious, do not move. Do not open your eyes. Do not reach for your phone. Do not shift your body. The moment you move, the dream starts to dissolve. It's like catching a fish. If you jerk the line, you lose it. You have to be still. You have to let the images surface on their own. Lie motionless. Keep your eyes closed. And gently, patiently, pull the dream back from the edges of your memory. Pull it by the tail. A color, a feeling, a face. Once you have one thread, more will follow. And then, and only then, open your eyes. Pick up the notebook you placed beside your bed and write down everything, every image, every feeling, every detail, no matter how bizarre or meaningless it seems. The meaning will reveal itself later. Sometimes that afternoon, sometimes that week, sometimes months later when a life event suddenly makes the dream click into perfect, startling focus. Cayce said that every human being has this ability. Not just psychics, not just spiritual people, everyone. Your subconscious is always willing to answer your questions. You just have to learn to ask and to listen. Try it tonight. You might be surprised at who's been waiting to talk to you. The final truth. 5 levels of dreaming, 5 layers of communication, each deeper than the last. From the body to the mind to the soul, to the spirit world, to the emergency broadcast of your eternal self. Your body screams through symbols, collapsing houses, fire, creatures crawling in the dark. Your psyche holds up mirrors, falling teeth, public nakedness, the face of death, reflecting truths far more liberating than any dream dictionary will ever tell you. Your soul writes its report card in water, clear or muddy, calm or raging, more honestly than any therapist's office ever could. The dead reach across the veil in dreams so vivid they redefine what you think is real. And the dreams that return again and again are not your curse. They are your soul's most desperate, most loving attempt to wake you up before it's too late. Cayce said something that I think about every night before I fall asleep. He said, "Nothing of significance ever occurs to an individual without it first being foreshadowed in a dream." Nothing. That means the answer to your most pressing question might already be waiting for you. Tonight, under the pillow, behind your closed eyelids. If this video changed how you think about your dreams, leave a comment with the dream that has been haunting you. The recurring one, the vivid one, the one you've been afraid to talk about. You might be surprised by how many people in this community have had the same experience, and sometimes just writing it down is enough to begin understanding it. Part 2 will go even deeper, beyond the 5 levels, into the territory Cayce considered the most extraordinary of all. We'll cover prophetic dreams that predict the future, past life dreams that explain your present, and the most controversial claim Cayce ever made about sleep. That every night you leave your body and travel to other dimensions, and you can learn to remember where you've been. Don't miss it. Sweet dreams tonight, and this time, pay attention to them.